Everything that they're telling you to do is totally backwards when it comes to making money, when it comes to saving. This whole boomer concept of you need to save every penny, you need to drive a vehicle that's $10,000 or less, you need to live in a neighborhood that's within your means, you need to. There's aspects of truth to that that certainly did exist in the world before, but from what I've seen, and it really started in 2000, the end of 2019, the world changed and it just has not come back. Even with Trump as the president, even with all of the good things that are happening right now, we're just in a different timeline, and I think 20, 30, 40 years removed from this whole process, we'll look back at this time and we'll say, yeah, that was the line. That was when it changed. The early 20s. That was when things were different. And I don't know exactly what it will be referred to as. Maybe it'll be the COVID years, maybe it'll be pre-COVID, the lead up to COVID, who knows? There's a lot of wars that are pending right now, and we really just don't know what's going to happen. And I'm 28 years old, and I know that a lot of the people that might be listening to this are also young, they're ambitious, they want to make money, they might want to get married, they want to have kids, and they're just looking around at the current state of affairs and how it's all laid out. They're looking at the only intensification of the world. And they're just saying, you know what, this is over. It's over. Finding a decent woman to get married, have kids with, make a financial plan with, set up a future with. It's not what it was in the 1950s or even the 60s. It's not what it was when these older boomers are giving advice and they're saying, well, you need to do this, X, Y, Z. They're advising you based on where they were at when they were our age, when they were younger, when they were on the come up, when they were trying to make their initial first wave of money. And then on the flip side of it, you've got the really, and I'm not saying everything to do with crypto is bad, but you got this really scammy energy with this, just make this fast money, join my course, buy my ebook, buy my this. I mean, now it's really gone into the memberships and the courses, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that kind of stuff, especially if it does give you value. But I see a lot of it. I see a lot of it as just some influencers' way to enrich themselves and grift and make money themselves. So it really, and then the majority of people, I just know the majority of young people they're not getting practical advice from the quick money, get rich quick, and they're not getting practical advice from the boomers. And it's sort of like, okay, so what do we do? What do you do? And I don't think that it's necessarily wrong when you've got this kind of field position and it's laid out the way it is. It's not necessary. If I was talking to someone in their young 20s, early 20s, it's not necessarily a bad move to punt the football and just say, you know what, I'm going to punt the football. I'm going to get some better field position, and I'm just going to focus on work, and I'm just going to focus on making money, passive income, doing something online, e-commerce, buying land. A project that I've been working on for the past few years has actually just been this plot of land that I bought right when COVID started. It was a $14,000 investment, quarter acre of land in Florida. And I just planted fruit trees on it. And it's actually inspired the name of this channel with the Mango Tree Money. I just planted fruit trees on it, and year over year, those trees get bigger, and the valuation of the land goes up because it becomes year over year, it will become a more productive fruit farm. And we got mangoes, coconuts, avocados, bananas, and more, and good stuff like that. So I think you definitely need to be clever. I'm not saying that's what everyone needs to do. I'm just saying in today's day and age, and there's a lot of people, when it comes to the Dave Ramseys out there and some of these older people, I do think they have a lot of wisdom. I do think they have a lot of sound advice. And I do think that it's sort of, in this day and age, you have to do a little bit of cafeteria style. Okay, let me take this, but leave that, take this, leave that. Because there is good, we should always respect our elders. And there is good advice from these people and from the younger people too. And the people in between that are, I think crypto, I would definitely keep an open mind with crypto. And I do think there's a lot of money to be made there. But I would say disproportionately, most of what I see is people looking to enrich themselves, buy my coin, and then they're rug pulling people. I mean, that is where the money is being, that's where the big money is being made. It's not a team game. It's no one's working with you. People are out for themselves in that world. And in most of the world, that's how it goes. And so the reason I wanted to make this video is just to highlight that and say, you know what? You got to take a deep breath. Sometimes when it's 3rd and long, you punt the football and you get good field position, and you don't need to make quick money necessarily, especially if you're young. Especially if you're looking at this situation, you're young. This could change. This can all change very quickly. One political cycle, one world event, or just consciousness that comes forward, and political consciousness, social consciousness that change. I mean, it's certainly changed a lot. Every decade, it seems to change a lot, and we don't know what the next 10 years looks like. It doesn't look too good for us right now. It's 3rd and long. You know, we see just degeneracy and the corruption and corrosion of our social fabric, of what it meant to be in a relationship has changed a lot ever since. Even when I was in high school, it wasn't like it then what it is now. I see it rapidly deteriorating, worse and worse and worse. And so it's hard for a guy out there, especially, and for women too, but for a guy trying to make his way. I see a lot of people that are genuinely trying to do the best they can. And they're just looking at the situation. They're looking at the price of rent out there. It's hard to make it as a single guy on your own too. And so I just wanted to throw out some practical stuff here and say, you know what, when it comes to relationships, I think that if you can land someone that is emotionally stable, like, emotional stability is going to become such a commodity, in my opinion, in the next few years, just as we see more derangement and backwards inverted behavior when it comes to relationships in particular. I mean, even, and the reason I'm harping on relationships so much, because you get married today, I mean, it's not in any benefit, and I'm not discouraging people to get married, but it's really not in any benefit to the man to do so. It's much greater risk than it is reward, in terms of your money, in terms of your finance, in terms of building wealth. And I think that if you can get into a good situation where you're with someone you love and trust, and someone that has clearly displayed emotional stability, then that makes sense. And I think that that's what a lot of guys are going to have to start prioritizing. They're going to have to start looking at the field and saying, look, we need, it's, and I'm going to use my football analogy again. You need a good running back. You know, you need to be able to run the football. Okay. Yes, we like to pass the ball. We like to throw passing touchdowns, but you got to be able to control the ground game. And so emotional stability in all facets of life is going to be essential for making money. And slow money is okay as long as it's steady. As long as it's steady. And that's been the concept with the land that I bought. Is just, you know what? The whole crypto thing, I understand bits and pieces of it, but it's not easy for me to wrap my head around it entirely. There's so many moving pieces, and it's something that I'm paying attention to, but it's not something I'm all in on. And I think that that's a position that a lot of people are also in, whether they like to admit it or not. I don't think you should ever be all in or investing heavily into something that you don't fully understand. And buying land, developing, that's something that's in the bones, at the core of every man. I think it's something that everyone could do. And so that's one concept. And it doesn't really matter what state you're in. Not everywhere you're going to grow bananas and mangoes, but might be able to grow apples and pears. So it can be done just about anywhere. And it's something that you can hold on to, you can pass down generationally, and it's also something that can keep you grounded in this chaotic world that we're currently living in. So, just a few thoughts out there. I really want to get some feedback on this video and just hear from people and just hear that other people are feeling the same way and seeing the same thing out there when it comes to planning your financial future and just planning your future in general. I think that a lot of people are feeling the same way, and young people have it stacked against them. This is by no means a victim mentality or mindset. I'm just saying, based on all of the situations we're currently presented with, based on all of the data, this is how I'm handling it, and maybe someone will get value from this video or the videos to come, because I want to talk more about this and dive deeper into some of the specifics. But let me know what you guys are feeling out there. Take care. Bye.